injuries, Brian Bacham was limited today. Abe Markwich is still out. Christian Thomas was limited. Devon Flournoy is still out. Amir Carlisle came out during practice. I think he'll be back tomorrow. So I think we're relatively healthy for the most part, which is good. We've lost some guys for the season earlier in camp due to the hitting, but I think we're more physical because of it. And as I mentioned, we suffered some injuries, but I think it'll pay off for us as we get to Saturday.
How do you stop a mobile quarterback in Marquise?
Yeah, it's going to be a big challenge for us. You know, this is not just a mobile quarterback, but a big physical. You know, they say he's 240 pounds, so we're going to have our hands full, especially because they know what they're doing with them. You know, they've done a great job with running quarterbacks that throw and run quarterback lead runs. So this is a very, very big challenge for our defense right off the bat.
Does it limit you at all with Jerry Kill just coming from Northern Illinois, going to Minnesota? You know, you got to watch Northern Illinois film. Does that hold you guys back at all or affect how you're preparing?
Not at all, because I think as you study him, they've done the same thing for years. They do a phenomenal job of coaching their players, very simple schemes, but they do them really well. And their players play extremely, extremely hard. You know, this is a very, you know, wherever they've been, you watch their films over the years, they're very physical. They go into hard places. They went into Knoxville a couple of years ago and basically had the game won with their four-string quarterback. So we got to be ready to go. And this is going to be a big matchup for us versus a very physical defense and an offense that's extremely well coached.
Any decisions at this point on tailback or left guard?
No, we're just plugging along, and you know, as I mentioned before, our goal in this game, regardless of who the opponent was, is to play a lot of guys. We have a ton of players on our roster who have never played a snap of college football, and so, you know, like we say, you're a true freshman until you play, regardless of how long you've been here practicing. So there's going to be a lot of big guys Saturday, and we got to work through and get a lot of guys in there and find out who's ready to go.
What are the biggest challenges you foresee with some of those young starters?
I think just being in the first game, no matter where you are, let alone the Coliseum and all the emotions that go with that. So we have to really manage that and try to control our players' emotion and get them to play really well, which is always a challenge for anyone around the country in their first game, to avoid the penalties and the first game jitters.
Talk about how you kind of want to set up the running game. I don't know if it's headed in that direction or not, but if it ends up being a committee situation, can that be effective?
I think it can. It's not ideal, but you know, we kind of did it last year, and at times it was effective. You know, you look at Mark and Allen's numbers, you know, they were pretty good, especially average per carry. So it can be done. It's just not ideal because it affects your rhythm a little bit as a play caller and as your offensive line to have guys, you know, that hit the holes a little bit different. So hopefully it won't be that way in the end.
You mentioned Curtis and DJ in the last week or so. What's Dylan not doing so that he would get mentioned as one of the first guys?
I don't know. Wasn't on purpose. Dylan's had just as many reps as other guys in there. He's done some things well. You know, just has to continue to be consistent. We ask him to do a little bit more than some of the other guys at times because of his pass catching ability. So he's got a lot of stuff to work on, but has come a long ways from a year ago.
Is there fans ask me about this all the time? Was there any consideration ever given to making Dylan the holder so he could, you know, run those 2-point plays?
Yeah, we thought about it, you know, but it's you know, it's just something that after we went through looking at it, working on it, we went with Matt instead.
Any update on Armand on Armstead?
Nothing. Still not cleared, and hopefully we'll get him back here.
Are you optimistic that he'll be able to be cleared this week?
I hope so. I don't know enough to know. This is in the hands of our doctors, and so we'll play him when they let us.
Are you satisfied with Calippo now that he's fully ready to play and start?
Yeah, I'm still nervous about it. You know, this is a lot different than a real game, you know, than the tempo of a real game and all the hitting. So we'll throw him out there, and hopefully he'll do well.
Lee, where's your confidence level in the defense right now versus 12 months ago?
I don't know. You know, I really think until you play, it doesn't really change very much. You know, and so even though we feel better and we look better and we're bigger and stronger and faster and we look like we tackle better, until we prove it, it doesn't matter. You know, it's just like when people talk about champions of conferences. Until you're the champ, you're not. So, you know, until we prove that we can play, we haven't done anything yet.
So were you surprised with some of the stuff that happened in that Hawaii game? Did it, you know, some of the issues with depth and stuff being exposed?
Yeah, we were shocked in that game. You know, I would have never thought we would have come into that game and that many explosive plays. And I thought we were going to be pretty good on defense last year. I thought we looked good in camp, you know, and obviously the tackling part showed up. And then as we started losing guys throughout games, the depth really showed up. and it really showed up in the end of games. I think in the 11 of the 13 games they scored on one of their last 2 possessions, including 3 of the first 4 games of the year. I think they score on their last possession of the game, and so we lost a lot of games on the last possession. You know, the way we look at it, if we just would improve on 2-minute defense a year ago, we're 11-2 with all the other things we could improve on. So hopefully playing more players, more physical practices are gonna help that.
Thank you.